Let's talk about one of the ugliest, most dehumanizing stories in American history. The way people used to talk about black babies being used as alligator bait. Because that isn't just some wild urban legend or some folklore to laugh off. It's a window into just how little black life was valued. And honestly, when I heard about Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, that's exactly where my mind went. So what does that even mean, black babies as alligator bait? It's a story that's lived in black communities for generations. That enslavers or white hunters would use black infants to lure alligators from the swamp. It sounds so grotesque that people just want to dismiss it outright. Just call it folklore. But here's the truth. In the early 20th century, the newspapers printed it as a joke. Headlines that said, "Bait alligators with pickaninnies." They wrote these stories as if it was just entertainment. They didn't hide it, they laughed about it. They printed it because they knew that white readers would find it funny. Now, was it some widespread systematic practice? Historians will tell you there's no evidence of organized trade using babies as bait. But those headlines weren't invented out of thin air. They existed because the idea felt believable in a society that saw black life as cheap, as disposable. Because they thought so little of black children that feeding them to animals seemed normal enough to print and sell. And it didn't stop there, it became a part of Jim Crow culture. Postcards, cartoons, images of black kids chased by alligators, sold in tourist shops. It wasn't hidden. It was marketed. It was taught to white children as normal. It was a tool of terror, turning black children into prey in the white imagination. That's the horror that people want to gloss over. Not just the violence itself, but the normalization of it. The fact that you could put it on a postcard, sell it as a joke, make it a part of the culture, because black life was just that cheap. So yeah, when I hear about Alligator Alcatraz, even if it's a migrant detention camp in 2025, built in the Florida swamps to scare people from escaping, of course that name hits a nerve, because it shows just how comfortable this country still is, using the name of wildlife in cages and fear to dehumanize people. It doesn't even have to intend that history to bring it back for those of us who know it. Because we remember what that alligator imagery used to mean. We remember that this country joked about feeding our children to animals. We remember that it was entertaining to them, that our pain was marketable, that our children were seen as bait. So no, don't tell me that was just a myth with no legacy. Ask why those headlines existed at all. Ask why it was funny to them. Because it tells you exactly how they saw us. Not as humans, not as children, but as disposable. And that mindset, it isn't gone. It just learned how to hide better. It just finds new targets. And if we don't say that out loud, they're just going to keep pretending that it never happened.